As we go deep now into lap 4, half a second clear of Álvaro Bautista. The problem for Toprak is this is where Bautista should make up all of that ground, exiting turn 15 at the end of the 4th lap. We'll see on board with Jonathan Rea. This will give us a good indication of Bautista escaping from Rea, leaving him in his wake down in 3rd position. Now we head back towards turn 1. And it's Bautista trying to close down Razgatlıoğlu. Nothing to choose between the two leaders.
Yeah, you can see there that for Bautista, he doesn't even have to have a sniff at the slipstream. He's on the left-hand side of the track, taking his normal racing line, nowhere near Toprak. So this is a chance as well. This is where he had his win on the BMW in the damp conditions a few years ago. If he's able to run with these guys for the first half of the race, that's going to give him such a lift.
Yes, certainly is, after the injury struggles this season for Michael van der Mark. Just being in the mix with the leaders is a super effort from him. Great job in Superbike. We know the kind of performances that he's been able to put in here in the past. A lap ago, they were almost 4 abreast down in towards turn number 1. They were so bunched up that it was difficult for Álvaro Bautista to cut his way through the traffic. Little bit of a wobble coming off the final turn for Razgatlıoğlu. Once again, Jonathan Rea is up alongside him here. One of the 2023 Pirelli Portuguese round is underway. Pretty level break. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu is going to have the inside line in towards turn number 1. And Razgatlıoğlu leads. He's leapfrogged both of the Kawasaki's in the run down towards turn number 1. The only problem for him is that Bautista too is making progress. He's already up into 3rd place. It was a sluggish start from Jonathan Rea. Now he's clipped the back of Bautista. That's going to cost Jonathan Rea a series of positions here. He is tumbling backwards. Michael van der Mark, the main beneficiary, moves through and up into 4th position. Alex Lowe's attacking the tail of Toprak Razgatlıoğlu, but under heavy braking in towards turn 5, it is Toprak who holds sway. This is Jonathan Rea. He's dropped behind Danilo Petrucci all the way down to 7th position then for Rea. So it's now Razgatlıoğlu who leads, from Lowe's in 2nd, Bautista in 3rd, van der Mark 4th position. Super start for him, as well as Remy Gardner ahead of Danilo Petrucci, and Jonathan Rea back down to P7.
Yeah, really good jump off the line from Lowe's to be able to get through, and Jonathan Rea, and then Rea gets pushed down the field into turn 3. Johnny actually did a really good job not to clean Bautista out, because that could have ended in tears for the number 1 as well.
We've seen so many times down the years when we had the reverse grid format for the top 9 positions, Jonathan Rea carve his way through the field. Tougher task for him these days, with the Kawasaki not as performing perhaps as it was in the past.
What we're seeing again in the early stages of this race, you can see Razgatlıoğlu and Lowe's at the front. They opened up a bit of a gap to Bautista. Van der Mark in the BMW and P4, he closed onto the back of Bautista as well. Álvaro builds himself into these races, but this is the sector where he's had a clear advantage all the way through the weekend. So this is where you will expect to see him use that strength of the Ducati.
Alex Lowe's tucked right onto the tail of Toprak Razgatlıoğlu as they come off the final turn at the end of the opening lap. Bit of a wobble from Razgatlıoğlu off that final turn. Look at the surge of pace from the Ducati back in towards turn number 1. But it's Alex Lowe's making his progress on his return from knee surgery, his comeback weekend, and he leads in Portugal. Massive, massive moment there for Remy Gardner from P5. Well, dropping out of P5 now, Jonathan Rea comes through.
Yeah, Rea now right on the back of this as well. Good move by Lowe's into turn 1. If you get the high ground, you dictate terms, unless Toprak's really able to break in deep and sweep across the front of you. So good move by Lowe's to get in front into turn 1.
275-metre braking zone. You don't make too many passes on Toprak Razgatlıoğlu in that fashion. That's going to be a postcard moment as far as Alex Lowe's is concerned. He leads on lap 2 of this 20-lap race. A long way to go just yet, but Toprak Razgatlıoğlu now has no bike between himself and Álvaro Bautista.
Yeah, Lowe's needs to scamper now if he can, because with Razgatlıoğlu and Bautista, you want them to battle with each other and open up a bit of a gap. Cracking stuff from van der Mark. Superpole was able to put it on the 2nd row of the grid, and now he's able to go with the race leaders. Great to see.
Jonathan Rea, though, through on the inside of Michael van der Mark, despite the Dutchman's stunning early start through into turn 11. We've seen plenty of passes from Rea there. The natural racing line is a wide, sweeping one, and Rea takes the tighter line to force his way through. Top 5, though, still separated by less than a second.
It's really important for van der Mark, though, to go with them, give yourself the chance of that big point-scoring finish. But look at how close it is between the 5. Bautista, let's see if he can get the run on them and lead into turn 1.
Álvaro Bautista has every opportunity to gobble up the 2 riders in front of him now. We're looking back at Jonathan Rea and Michael van der Mark, but it's looking forward very shortly for Álvaro Bautista. He comes off the final turn at the end of lap number 2. It's Alex Lowe's who leads. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu ducks the inside line. Now watch for the Ducati. It's 3 different manufacturers in the top 3 positions. Bautista not quite close enough, and nor is Razgatlıoğlu on Lowe's, who holds firm. And Bautista caught a little bit out of position there going into turn one. Jonathan Rea right on his tail. Bautista with the cutback, bundles down the inside of Razgatlıoğlu, pinch points into the 55km/h turn three, but the status quo is maintained. Lows, Razgatlıoğlu, Bautista and Rea.
We saw it last time out in Aragon. Toprak didn't have that top speed on the straights, but we'll see if he has it on the brakes. Doesn't again. Same as what we saw in Aragon from Toprak, but that's brave from Lowe's. Sweep across him into 5.
Brilliant performance this from Alex Lowe's in the early stages, proving his fitness ahead of this Portuguese round. He leads the way. Razgatlıoğlu still in second, Bautista tucked up behind them in third. But the longer this race goes on, the more menacing Bautista is going to be.
Yeah, but as long as we keep these 5 riders in a group, we've got 5 great riders, 3 manufacturers. Let's see what's going to play out for them.
Yeah, the pace not particularly hot as Jonathan Rea now thinks about a manoeuvre on Álvaro Bautista, just as he did a lap ago on Michael van der Mark. This time he's through on Bautista. So 2 Kawasaki's and a Yamaha now in front of the lead Ducati.
Yeah, this is where you need to have Álvaro bottled up. You can see for van der Mark, though, this is a chance as well. This is where he had his win on the BMW in the damp conditions a few years ago. If he's able to run with these guys for the first half of the race, that's going to give him such a lift.
Yes, certainly is, after the injury struggles this season for Michael van der Mark. Just being in the mix with the leaders is a super effort from him. Great job in Superbike. We know the kind of performances that he's been able to put in here in the past. A lap ago, they were almost 4 abreast down in towards turn number 1. They were so bunched up that it was difficult for Álvaro Bautista to cut his way through the traffic. A little bit of a wobble coming off the final turn for Razgatlıoğlu. Once again, Jonathan Rea is up alongside him here. They're 3 abreast into turn 1 this time at the start of lap 4. We're watching back at Álvaro Bautista.
Toprak has gotten through.
Toprak Razgatlıoğlu now goes to the front. Bautista into second place. Lowe's in the mix. Jonathan Rea has come through on him, and Lowe's is now back down to 5th position behind Michael van der Mark. All change at the start of lap number 4, and Álvaro Bautista could be through to the front. No, Razgatlıoğlu defends, and now Jonathan Rea jabs it down the inside into that turn 5, and Bautista's aggressive, forcing his way back through.
That's the line you can take, is what we've seen that time and again in the past for the Ducati. They're able to use that line on the inside. Rea tries to make the move, but it's very difficult in Defy to get that apex hooked up while trying to outbrake someone.
We didn't catch it at the time, but Alex Lowe's really duffed up there at the start of this lap 4. He's gone back down to 5th position, so a shame for him after that stunning early start.
Yeah, we can see that he got pinched with Rea on one side, Razgatlıoğlu on the other, and then Bautista trying to sweep through as well. But for Lowe's, we'll see if he's able to recover from that.
So Alex Lowe's attempting to recover. This is what happened into turn 1 at the start of lap 4.
Yeah, you can see the 22 gets Toprak in on top of him. He's got his teammate on one side. He's doing his best to avoid 2 other riders, and then Bautista's able to take profit on that. And then down into the next corner, that's when you see Jonathan Rea and Bautista trying to attack one another again.
Razgatlıoğlu breaking away somewhat as we go deep now into lap 4. Half a second clear of Álvaro Bautista. The problem for Toprak is this is where Bautista should make up all of that ground. Exiting turn 15 at the end of the 4th lap. We'll see on board with Jonathan Rea. This will give us a good indication of Bautista escaping from Rea, leaving him in his wake down in 3rd position. Now we head back towards turn 1. And it's Bautista trying to close down Razgatlıoğlu. Nothing to choose between the 2 leaders.
Yeah, you can see there that for Bautista, he doesn't even have to have a sniff at the slipstream. He's on the left-hand side of the track, taking his normal racing line, nowhere near Toprak. So we know he's got that top speed advantage there. That comes from how quick he is through turn 15 as well. He's very strong in that section of the track.
Razgatlıoğlu leads then from Bautista in second, 2/10 back. Race starting to settle down now, but what a great job Michael van der Mark's doing here in P4. And if the Kawasaki's do start to drop off their pace, as has been the case several times over the course of this season, van der Mark could be thinking about that final step of the podium.
Yeah, van der Mark knows that this is a chance for him. He's got that harder front tyre. Everyone's out there on the SC0 because of the allocation for Pirelli. So you know you're not going to give up that much performance to everyone. So this is a chance for van der Mark.
And a chance for Álvaro Bautista by the end of this lap. Gap down to just a 1/10 of a second. If he can keep it anything as close as that by the time they get to turn 15, Bautista should be fairly rocketing through.
Yeah, and you can see for Bautista and Rea, they're just starting to edge away from van der Mark and Lowe's now. But for Álvaro Bautista, it is going to be down into 15 unless Rea is able to attack.
And Lowe's now ahead of Michael van der Mark. He made that pass down the inside coming in towards turn 11, I think. So Alex Lowe's up ahead of van der Mark now for P4. Your top trio, nothing to separate them. Your lead trio though, in the World Championship standings. Bautista 47 points ahead of Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. If things were to stay as they are at present, the gap would be cut to 42. But it's Bautista now who should have the surge of speed coming off the final turn. The surge of speed that's demoralised so many of his rivals. Cuts past Toprak Razgatlıoğlu to lead, and already by the end of lap 5, Bautista is in front. But Razgatlıoğlu will respond. 275-metre braking zone into that first turn, the heaviest braking zone on the circuit. Ideal for Razgatlıoğlu to answer straight back.
Yeah, Toprak, as you can see, they're just not going to accept giving up that position. At the end of the day, for Razgatlıoğlu, he needs to back the field up at this stage, because we know that Alvaro in a straight-up fight has that advantage. We saw it last time out in Aragon. And for these riders at the front, they know they need more riders in the group to try and put people between you.
Yeah, that's exactly what Razgatlıoğlu needs. Toprak Razgatlıoğlu needs Jonathan Rea to get through here on Álvaro Bautista. The more bikes he puts between himself and his championship rival, the better, because as the race goes on, Bautista's only going to get stronger.
And this is where into turn 10 and 11, we need to see if Rea is able to get close enough to Bautista.
Bit of a wobble over the hill for Álvaro Bautista. Does that give an opportunity? Does that give some momentum to Jonathan Rea? Bautista going a little bit more defensive this time around. He knows the attack is going to come from there, from the Kawasaki man.
Yeah, and the short straights here give the Ducati that shoot on the way out. But for Jonathan Rea, we know once they're into those braking zones, when you're placing all of the load on the front, this is where he gets his opportunity. You can see how much tighter he's able to hold that Kawasaki through turn 13. He's got so much more confidence in those areas than Bautista. But from this point on, once Alvaro cracks open the gas, look at how the gap just gets smaller and smaller to Toprak, particularly on the exit of turn 15.
I think back to Most when Bautista was making his passes earlier in the straight, and Razgatlıoğlu on the brakes was fighting his way back through into turn number 1. Bautista's got the job done even earlier, if anything, this time around at the start of lap number 7. Jonathan Rea's got some momentum here on Toprak as well, going in towards turn number 1, but Bautista's opened up enough of a margin now, and from here on in, it's going to be very tough to live with the pace of that Ducati.
Turn 3, Toprak has to attack.
We're watching Andrea Locatelli, 15th position for him as he tries to fight his way through. He's out onto the curbs and passed by Dominic Everter. The race at the front, though, with Bautista and Razgatlıoğlu separated by just sweeping line from Michael van der Mark, leaves the door open. This time it's Remy Gardner coming through. They don't bang bars, though, and van der Mark successfully made that outside recovery this time around.
Van der Mark's the only rider you see able to make that line work as well. When riders come down the inside of you into that right-hander down the hill, it is a case of just ceding the position. Van der Mark, though, a few laps, has been able to run around the outside and make sure he's able to hold on to the position. Really good stuff to see from Van der Mark.
Michael van der Mark riding with some confidence then, but it's Álvaro Bautista breaking clear at the head of the field. 1.9 seconds now his lead to Toprak Razgatlıoğlu.
Yeah, and for Bautista, now you're into that final lap. 2 seconds of an advantage. Toprak's got 4.5 seconds at hand on Jonathan Rea, but it's all about this scrap now to see who's going to end up finishing 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Can Gardner make the progress to come through? He's been fast all weekend. It's only for that yellow flag infringement in Superpole we didn't get to see him qualify further up. Gardner
through on the inside of van der Mark once again for that 6th position. Van der Mark targeting P6 to match his best result of this 2023 season. Will try to respond, but it's Gardner now who has track position. He's the man who has had the momentum, and finally Gardner's got clear of Michael van der Mark. Can van der Mark respond?
Has he got clear of van der Mark? Van der Mark with that harder front tyre, able to get a bit more support, but for Remy Gardner, he's just got more bike underneath him compared to the BMW.
And we watch the race for 4th position has been enthralling throughout. Gerloff, Lowe's, Gardner, van der Mark currently occupying those positions, but up at the front it is Álvaro Bautista who is riding clear. 1.9 seconds now up on Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. Had a very entertaining mid-race scrap there where Toprak tried to get on his tail. He was broken in those final laps.
Yeah, for Álvaro, just able to manage that tyre really well, still lapping in the 1:41 zeros at the end of this race, so doing what he does all the way through the season.
Álvaro Bautista then rounds the final 2 turns. He's broken clear of Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. He extends his lead in the championship standings, and Ducati are manufacturers world champions in 2023. Bautista wins race 1. A first taste of what might be to come in terms of celebrations for that Aruba IT Ducati outfit. Razgatlıoğlu 2nd place, Jonathan Rea over the line in 3rd, and best of the rest goes to Garrett Gerloff ahead of Alex Lowe's. Remy Gardner does beat Michael van der Mark for 6th position, but nonetheless an excellent Ducati outfit. Razgatlıoğlu 2nd place, Jonathan Rea over the line in 3rd.